Greetings everyone, welcome to my very first animated mapping tutorial, and this is VoidViper here. This is my first time going to be actually doing a tutorial. Well, I've done one before, but that one was very good, but it's going to be my first time trying to explain how I do my mapping series. For those of you who doesn't know, this is my alternate history of the world series. As you can probably see in the video right now, this is my intro. And yes, I'm just going to be teaching you guys how I made my alternate history of the world series. And it's pretty much a tutorial how I do my anime mapping and how I work on my videos. It's very hard to understand this if you're very new to this program, or if you're just clueless and you haven't developed the mindset of what my style is like. Then it will obviously be very hard to understand. I'll answer any questions in the description, well, in the comments below. My bad, and hopefully we'll go from there. As you guys can see, right, there's my intro. So I have this in the group. Before I get on to the tutorial, I want to explain some basics. So to add a video layer, so you basically right-click one of the tracks and click on Insert Video Track, or you can do Control-Shift-Q, and you add one. And you can do it again, duplicate the track, and that would duplicate anything on the timeline here. And you can click on Track Group, and you can group them, and that's how I created this group here. But this group's useless, so I'm just going to ungroup them and delete them because they're not relevant. So the first thing I want to talk about is years. So the top layer is the year box, so that this is on top of this. So generally speaking, this is the year, like the one I used earlier for 1000. But as you can probably see, I only have one. This is an easier way than creating 100 slides of years. So instead of doing that, I just have like that, and then I just show the 0, 1, 0, 2, and all sorts of that. So basically speaking, you can see 1102, 1103, so it works. There might be some problems later, but I'm not going to check that right now, and that's not the important part. The next thing is the sidebar here, which is the number 2 here, and the demigod sighting stuff. And the next is the text box, the talking stuff. So you guys probably know my animated text. So wait, yeah, like that, right? So, and then I have the name layer here. So if I mute it, you see the name disappears. And then I have the texture here, so it's easier to work on the map when I can just attach a texture on top of it. So, sorry, when I did my map. And this is the big text box here, and not big, the big group here that I'm going to show you how to animate this more. Well, how am I going to animate this more? So there might be, I know Domain Mapper has made a tutorial on how to do what I do, but what I do is actually a little bit different from how he did it. But I'm not going to do what I did for episode 18 of Future of the World, episode 18 Ties of the Hybrid, but the concept's the same. So this is the map layer. Like if you mute it, you can see the map disappears, and you can see the odd looking texture here. And oh yeah, one more thing. This texture also has opacity, so if I drag this along the line, like if I start from the top, I can drag it down and the opacity is lower. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to deal with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this, and as you can see, Malawian Empire is supposed to be talking, and you know how like a mapping, this is supposed to turn white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here right now, go into my episode 2 text box. Yep, this is my map, and these are the names sidebar. And I'm gonna have Malawi talk. What this basically does is just flips it white. And on this, for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna do it a very bad way. Just gonna add the fade in effect. This is not the best way to do it, but that's not the main purpose. Also, you know, you may have noticed these orange stuff. To do that, you just click on M and just type in stuff, and it works. It's very helpful to organize when you're creating the video using Sony Vegas 14, but I doubt most of you will be using this program because it's not free. So yeah, basically you can see now Malawian Empire is talking, and now the war is supposed to begin. So now I'm just gonna go back here, drag the map that basically it's just like a normal map. You basically just color it in. Oh yeah, this map has no names on them or any textures. It's just colors. It has the glow though. So the red and the blue. So now as you can see on the map, it's red and blue with the text on top. Right? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, just for the sake of it. And Yeah, and Prime is supposed to be talking, but okay. We'll deal with that soon, but not now. First thing I want to do is just show you the animated map. So Prime is occupying, so I'm going to use this first. As you can see, as soon as I drag this in, I've made it exactly in the same spot as Iberia. So this is how much land that I want them to get. So this is just, I'm just keeping it simple here. I'm not going to do complicated stuff where there's like 3 sides, 4 sides like I did in my failed Future of Europe remastered movie, but I'll just stick with the basics. So what I'm going to do is, generally speaking, the way I do my mapping is vector based. Like you can call it mass mapping or whatever, but it's using the idea of vectors. So it's basically using mathematical formulas to calculate where it's supposed to be, but I'm not going to get into the math because I don't even know the math myself. So I'm going to create multiple of them. The reason why I'm creating multiple of them is because you know how like in wars, like let's say World War II, like you know Germany surrounds some Russian armies. This is what I'm going to, this is why I have multiple of them, so I can surround them. If I try to do it in the same, like in the same shape, it's going to screw things up and it's just going to mess you up. Don't do it. But so if I want this, if I want them to claim the land like very slowly, like let's say I want this war to last like maybe like 20 to 30 seconds. So let's say so let's say in 10 seconds of the video, they're gonna get this much land. So this is gonna be the surrounding part. Basically, they overlap each other, and right here they do the same thing. Generally, now you can see well, the texture is coming up. I need to make this bigger. Now you can see that they have actually claimed some land, so it's not like what you saw earlier. So yeah, so now if I just play from here, you can see it's just slowly moving. Now to do the darker red effect, what I do is I have the exact same thing except I color it darker red and I have it start later. So what I want to do is copy this and paste it here so that this will end up here, but this one ended up here. Generally speaking, it's moving it's moving, the war movement is exactly the same, except the lighter one starts first, like it does in the mapping. I don't think you can see it because it's kind of hard to see it, but you can probably kind of see the lighter red coming in first before the darker. If I move this very far, it's noticeable. So yeah, you can probably see. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do it like that. And I don't really care anyway, but that's how I did my anime mapping. Now, before I continue this war, let's say I want the war to end around, yeah, I'm just going to make them conquer the rest. Now, you probably guys know, like, animated mapping allows me to be able to have wars going on while a nation can still be talking. So, you know how in slide by slide that is possible, but it's also I'm going to call it inefficient because it is. Well, you might prefer the other way, but I'm just gonna call it inefficient. And anime mapping is so much easier to do that. So I'm gonna show you that right now. But first, let me just finish this freaking war. I don't know. I'm just going randomly, but that's what I do. Just random positions. If I really want to go into detail, then I would. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not gonna do that. So the same idea, copy. You can do Control C and Control. Well, you can do Control V, but you just right click and paste event elements and you have it. And now you guys are probably, now I want Primus to be talking while the war animation is still moving. So before I get into that, let me just wait, what? Hold on, let me just see. Oh yeah, so it's gonna end here. End war, so I'm just gonna do like that right now. I want Primus to be talking during this war. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the Primus talk now. So into here. And now as you can see, while it's talking, I'm going to make it bigger so it's noticeable. You can see it's still white while it's moving. Like if I move it here, it's still white, it's still white. So which is the benefit of doing this. And now I just move it back here and finish it off like that. Wait, hold on. Yeah, see, it's kind of hard to do this because you have so many layers to deal with. And oops, my bad. So that's the general concept. So the next part I'm going to show you is I can have two wars going on at a time while the other side is still talking, and that's the benefit of this animated mapping style. But I'm going to pause it right here, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I just created this Moonic Empire text box here. Before I continue on, I just want to show that this, you see this here? This is in the exact same position as where Iberia is on the main map here. In order for this to work, it has to be like this. If you want to find some other way to do that, good luck, but I'm sure that this is, well, I'm not sure, but this is the way I do it, and this is the most efficient way I can think of doing it. There are some other ways I can think of right now, but I prefer not to go into this before I confuse you all. I think you guys are already very confused, so we're just gonna move on. So I'm gonna not deal with the mapping counterattack right now. So what I'm gonna do is the Moonic Empire is talking right now. I'm gonna have them talking. So as you can see now that turned white while this is still going on. And I'm just going to do the annoying crossfade again. This is a terrible way to do it, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to do it this way. And yeah, the other way is like shift, and you can get it aligned, but okay. So yeah, so this is the way to go. And so basically, you must continue to expand. So basically, they declare war on the undead in the north here. So undead invasion. Well, it's not undead invasion, it's invading the undead, but I'm gonna call it like that. And I'm going back to the map and do the same thing. This, as you can see, I'm gonna show you, the red is still there because this war is still ongoing, but when it's finished, I'm gonna have to like edit it here, but I don't have it with me because I didn't make it, so unfortunately I can't do that right now. But that's the general idea, so I'm gonna annex this, they're gonna annex this land, and this will be edited. But until that happens, I'm just gonna leave like this. So I should probably make this a little bit bigger. So then the war obviously begins. I'm gonna create more video tracks, and then I'm gonna call them Undead Occupying, Undead Occupied. So I'm doing the exact same thing, the Undead Occupying. So I'm gonna do it very quick, 4 seconds, and do the same concept. I'm gonna go a little quicker because I explained it before. Just create multiple. I'm just create 2, and just randomly create 2 and just move. So as you can see, while this war begins, while this is still happening, basically they surround that land, and then this is a war that they're not gonna win if you watched the video already, but that's how it's gonna be. And yeah, everything's screwed up because of this, but I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. So then I do the exact same thing, Undead Occupied, and I did not create a text box for the undead, so yeah, I have to go do that. But generally speaking, is they're gonna be talking, saying, "Who dares invade the land of the dead? Those who do will perish, will become, will, those who do will become us, yeah. Will become undead." And I can't get the right size because I don't have the text box with me. I'm just going to zoom 6, but yeah. Generally speaking, and I'm just going to, okay, this is mood talking, and then I'm going to create undead talking. The only reason I'm calling this undead because I actually don't know how to spell this. Viper, really? You don't know how to spell your own nations? Yeah, unfortunately I don't. And yeah, and now you can see that they're talking while that's moving as well, and while this war is still happening. It's just probably not that noticeable, but yeah. So now the next thing I'm going to talk about is the text box. So how do I animate my text? Well, the idea is the same as the anime mapping. Yeah, I'm just going to create a new text box and show you. And just out of example, I'm going to delete this later. So I'm going to clear everything here. Don't ignore what I'm doing right here. I'm just deleting everything to reset it back to default. So now it's at default. So what I want to do is I create the text box. Basically how I get the text box is I go to media generators, titles, and text. I just drag this here and then do some settings, and that would do the trick. So what I do is I click this and then I go to mask. Instead of using this tool, I use the rectangle creation tool right here, create very big, and depending on how long I want it to be, let's say I want it to be this fast, what I do is I just drag it here. Now if I just replay this, it will view the text. As you can see, following this, and there you go. That's how it's done. But we know I'm not using that, so I'll delete that right now. So yeah, that basically wraps this tutorial. I know I probably explained it in the worst possible way ever. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you are confused after this because you're new to this program or whatever, then you're obviously going to be confused. I don't expect anyone to be not confused unless they're very familiar with the program. So until then, if you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comments below. This is VoidViper. VoidViper out.